Welcome to Benny's Stories, the home of timeless folk tales and powerful life lessons. Hit subscribe, tap the bell, and give a quick thumbs up. Now, let's dive straight into today's story. Amaka's world is one of admiration and envy. Her catering business in Enugu has become the go-to for weddings and political functions, bringing her wealth, prestige, and respect. At home, her husband Chike appears to be the perfect partner, handsome, supportive, and always ready with a smile in public. The chapter paint her life as flawless. At community events, neighbors whisper about how blessed she is. Women point her out as an example of a woman who chose wisely. Men joke that Chike has set the bar too high. Amaka glows in this praise, convinced her marriage is unshakable. Yet, there are small things. Chike often returns home late, excuses himself from intimate conversations, and sometimes seems distant when she talks about her dreams. Amaka tells herself all marriages have little flaws, and she refuses to let suspicion ruin her happiness. This chapter builds the illusion of perfection, setting the stage for its slow unraveling. On a sunny afternoon, Amaka heads to Old Bait Market to buy supplies for a big catering order. As she moves through the stalls, she overhears two women gossiping. "This man has two homes," one says. "His poor wife doesn't even know." That's men for you. They can smile in one place and live another life somewhere else. Amaka doesn't intend to listen, but when they describe the man, tall, light-skinned, always in a crisp white shirt, it sounds eerily like Chike. Her heart skips. For a moment, fear grips her, but then she forces a laugh. People gossip about everyone, she tells herself. Chike is too honorable, too loyal. She refuses to let such idle chatter infect her heart. Yet that night, while serving dinner, she catches herself studying Chike's face, replaying the women's words. Something in her spirit stays uneasily, and the first cracks appear in her unshakable bliss. One Friday evening, Chike casually announces he has to leave for Abuja on urgent business. He avoids her eyes as he packs, throwing in clothes carelessly. Amaka notices two wrapped gift boxes in his bag, gifts she's never seen before. "Who are those for?" she asks. "A client's children," he says quickly. She wants to press further, but his sharp tone shuts her down. That night, as he sleeps, Amaka tries to unlock his phone. Every app is locked with a fingerprint, something he never used to do. Alone in bed, she stares at the ceiling. She tries to remind herself of all the good years they've shared, but the locked phone feels like a locked door between them. The next day, she tells her best friend Ifema about her unease. Ifema laughs it off. "You have the best husband in town. Don't go looking for trouble." But Amaka cannot shake the growing weight in her chest. While Chike is in the shower one evening, his phone rings. Amaka hesitates but picks it up. The caller ID flashes Manager Ugochi. "Hello." Amaka answers. Silence. Then a quick hang-up. When Chike steps out, she confronts him. He chuckles nervously. "Oh, that's just a client. She calls for work issues." But his eyes betray discomfort, and his hand quickly grabs a phone from her. That night, she replays the moment over and over. Why would a client hang up in silence? Why did Chike seem rattled? For the first time, Amaka lies awake while her husband sleeps peacefully beside her. Her once unshakable trust has turned into a restless storm of unanswered questions. At a family gathering, Amaka notices Chike's odd behavior. A distant cousin of his greets him warmly, but Chike quickly steers Amaka away before introductions. She overhears a cousin whispering something that makes Chike's face tighten with unease. Later, while serving food, Amaka hears laughter from the cousin and another guest. "That man lives a double life, oh. One day it will catch up with him." Amaka's hand trembles as she sets down the tray. She forces a smile, but inside her world is spinning. When she finally confronts Chike that night, he dismisses her fears with irritation. "Amaka, why are you always listening to gossip? Don't you trust me?" His sharp words cut deep, making her feel guilty for doubting. But the truth is, her once solid bliss has begun to crumble. And though she doesn't know it yet, her life is about to shatter completely. Sunday morning at church, Amaka sits beside Chike, still battling unease. As the choir sings, a neatly dressed stranger slides into the pew behind her. When service ends, he discreetly slips a folded note into her palm before disappearing into the crowd. Her heart races as she hides a paper inside her Bible. Hours later, at home, she unfolds it. Your husband is not who you think he is. Be careful. The handwriting is bold, deliberate, and chilling. Amaka's hands tremble as she reads the words over and over. Who was the stranger? What did he mean? When Chaik returns from the kitchen, she quickly tucks the note under her pillow. That night, she cannot pray, cannot sleep. The note feels like a crack of thunder in her once clear skies. Desperation gnaws at Amaka. She decides to act quietly, hiring a Keek driver she trusts, an elderly man named Baba Uche, to follow Chaik when he leaves home for meetings. One Monday morning, Chaik kisses her goodbye, claiming he'll be at the office until evening. Baba Uche tails him discreetly through the streets of Enugu. Hours later, he reports back. Madam, your husband no go officer. He go one small house near GRA. He day there from morning till evening. N.A. woman open gate for Amaka's chest tightens. She asks if Baba Uche can take her to the house next time. He agrees, though his eyes hold pity. That night, she serves dinner in silence, staring at Chaik across the table. For the first time, she sees not her husband, but a stranger she cannot recognize. Unable to bear it, Amaka follows Chaik herself. Dressed simply, she sits in Baba Uche's keek, heart pounding as they tail her husband to the modest house. Through the window, she sees Chaik, laughing freely, his face glowing in a way she hasn't seen in years. Beside him is a beautiful woman in her early 30s, and on his lap sits a little girl who calls him Daddy. Amaka's stomach lurches. She nearly bursts in but forces herself to watch, tears streaming down her face. This isn't an affair. This is a second family. She rushes home before Chaik returns, collapsing on the bed. Her mind spins. How long? Who is she? Does everyone know but me? The perfect life she flaunted to the world feels like a cruel joke. The next evening, Amaka waits for Chaik to return, her chest burning with fury. As he enters, she throws the words at him like daggers. I saw you. Huh? The child. How dare you? Chaik freezes, then tries to compose himself. Amaka, you don't understand. Don't tell me I don't understand, she screams, tears streaming down her face. Is she your mistress? Your secret wife? Who is she? Defeated, Chaik sighs. Her name is Ngozi. We've been together for years. The child is mine. Yes, she's my first daughter. The room spins around Amaka. Her knees buckle, but rage holds her upright. So I am what? The second wife? The fool in this story. Chaik doesn't answer. His silence is confirmation. News spreads like wildfire. Enugu is a city where secrets rarely stay hidden, and soon whispers reach Amaka's friends, her clients, and even her church. At the next service, she feels eyes burning holes into her back. Women murmur. So she was bragging all this time, not knowing she was just a second wife. Others pity her. Such a fine woman. See how her husband disgraced her. Amaka forces herself to walk tall, but inside she is breaking. The envy she once enjoyed has turned into ridicule. Her catering contract begins to falter as clients withdraw, unsure if they want that woman associated with their events. At home, Chaik grows defensive, accusing her of making a scene and worsening his reputation. Amaka stares at him in disbelief. You destroyed me, and you still think of your reputation. Her unshakable bliss has collapsed into dust. Yet deep inside, a new fire begins to burn, a need for truth, justice, and survival. Amaka flees to her mother's house after another fight with Chaik. Her mother, Mama Nena, finds her daughter weeping uncontrollably. She sits quietly beside her until the sobs fade into silence. My child, Mama Nena says softly, a man's life does not reduce your value. Did you marry him because he made you who you are, or because you already had greatness in you? Amaka clings to her mother's words, but her heart is still raw. She fears the shame, the whispers, the collapse of her business, and the ruin of her reputation. Mama Nena holds her hands. You can either let his betrayal bury you, or you can rise above it. But you must choose, Amaka. Pain does not last forever unless you feed it. That night, Amaka looks at herself in the mirror, eyes swollen, face pale. She whispers, "I will not let this kill me." One afternoon, Ngozi, the other woman, shows up at Amaka's shop unannounced. Workers gasp as she enters, her head held high. Amaka is furious. "What are you doing here? Come to mock me." But Ngozi shakes her head. "No, I came to tell you the truth." Over tea in the back office, Ngozi confesses that she too was deceived. Chaik had told her Amaka was just a temporary fling he married under pressure, and that he planned to leave Amaka permanently. "He promised me stability, but he never left you. I realized we were both trapped in his lies." The revelation leaves Amaka stunned. For the first time, she sees Ngozi not as an enemy, but as another victim. Though she cannot forgive easily, she begins to understand that the real betrayal is Chaik's, not Ngozi's existence. By the end of a meeting, a fragile truce forms between the two women, one bound by the scars of deceit. Amaka's strength grows, but so does her fear. One day, a bank official visits her shop, asking for repayment of a loan she never knew existed. Shocked, she demands proof, and is handed documents signed with her name. When she confronts Chaik, his mask finally drops. "Yes, I use your name. You wouldn't have agreed, so I had to handle things my way. I needed money for my businesses." Her knees nearly give way. "You forged my signature. You've put me in debt." Chaik shrugs coldly. "You're my wife. What's yours is mine." Amaka realizes a betrayal goes deeper than infidelity. It is financial fraud, a direct attempt to strip her of everything she built. Her house, her cars, her business, all could crumble because of him. Her bliss wasn't just shaken. It was stolen. The confrontation turns brutal. Amaka, shaking with rage, accuses Chaik of ruining her life. But instead of remorse, he raises his voice. "You only care about your business, your fame. You think you're better than me. I had to do what I did because you left me behind." The words hit harder than a slap. Amaka realizes that in his mind, his betrayal is justified. He sees her success as competition, not partnership. When she refuses to back down, Chaik storms out, slamming the door. Alone, Amaka sinks to the floor, sobbing. The betrayal feels endless, emotional, financial, and social. But within the tears, something shifts. Pain turns into clarity. Chaik will never change. And if she does nothing, he will destroy her completely. The stress takes its toll. During a busy catering event, Amaka collapses in front of clients. She wakes up in the hospital, surrounded by friends and family. The doctor warns her, "Your body is strong, but your mind is under attack. If you don't protect yourself, this will happen again." For days, she lies in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if life is worth the fight. But her mother's words echo in her mind, along with Ngozi's revelation. She realizes she is not alone, and that many women suffer in silence. On the fifth night, she rises from bed, grabs a notebook, and begins writing everything Chaik has done: the lies, the loans, the second family. As the list grows, so does her resolve. "I will not let him win," she whispers into the darkness. "If he wants war, I will fight with truth." For the first time, Amaka chooses strength over sorrow. Amaka's decision to fight sharpens her mind. With Ngozi's help, she begins to dig into Chaik's dealings. They spend nights collecting documents, bank statements, contracts, and proof of loans taken in Amaka's name. Ngozi even provides photos of Chaik with her and the child, showing how long his double life has been running. At first, Amaka feels guilty, like betraying her husband. But when she recalls his arrogance, his cold dismissal, and the weight of debt he dumped on her shoulders, the guilt evaporates. A lawyer friend, Barrister Ifunanya, reviews the evidence and nods gravely. "You have enough to ruin him. But this will be public. Amaka, are you ready for that?" Amaka takes a deep breath. "He destroyed my life in secret. I will reclaim it in the open." The trial begins. Chaik, ever the charmer, walks into court in a crisp suit, smiling as if he owns a room. His lawyer paints him as a loving husband betrayed by a paranoid wife. Some spectators whisper in his favor. But then Amaka's lawyer calls Ngozi to the stand. Her testimony silences the room. She details years of lies, broken promises, and evidence of his double life. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Next, the bank documents are presented, showing forged signatures and fraudulent loans. Chaik stammers, his confidence cracking. For the first time, Amaka sees fear in his eyes. The judge, stern and unmoved by Chaik's excuses, declares, "This court finds you guilty of fraud, deception, and bigamy. Restitution will be made to Madam Amaka." The gavel strikes, sealing Chaik's disgrace. The news spreads like wildfire. Where once Amaka was mocked as a blind wife, she is now celebrated as a woman of courage who stood her ground. Women stop her in the market, thanking her for giving them the courage to face their own struggles. Her catering business, once threatened, explodes with new clients. Influential women invite her to speak at events. Newspapers carry her story, from betrayal to victory, how one woman fought back. Even in church, where she once endured whispers, she now receives standing ovations. She does not bask in pity, but in respect. Chaik, meanwhile, slinks into obscurity. His friends abandon him, his businesses collapse, and his charm can no longer shield him from the shame. Amaka learns an important truth. Society only respects strength when you demand it. Amaka moves into a new home, free from the shadows of her past. She invests her recovered funds into expanding her catering company, hiring more women who, like her, have suffered betrayal but need a fresh start. One evening, as she watches her staff laughing and working together, she feels a warmth that no marriage ever gave her, the warmth of independence. Chaik tries once more to reach her, begging for forgiveness, promising change. But Amaka looks at him with calm eyes. "You were my husband once. Now you are just a man I used to know." She walks away, leaving him to his silence. Months later, Amaka hosts a charity gala in Enugu. The hall is filled with dignitaries, clients, and women she has helped empower. She steps onto the stage in a stunning gown, her smile radiant. "My story began with betrayal," she says, "but it did not end there. Bliss is not what a man gives you. It is what you build for yourself. And once you own it, no one can shake it." Thunderous applause fills the room. Amaka scans the crowd, her eyes shining with tears, not of sorrow, but of triumph. For the first time, she realizes her bliss is truly unshakable. Not because of Chaik, not because of appearances, but because she forged it with her own strength. The chapter closes with her raising a glass, surrounded by people who admire her not as a wife, but as a woman who turned betrayal into destiny.